Hello, everybody. This is Michelle Marie Angel of Smile Soul Power. I have felt compelled to start doing videos on Tuesdays, and I don't know if I'm really going to do that, but I feel sort of guided by my guides to maybe step out a little bit more than I have been. So, I am an author and I've been writing spiritual books. I published my first one in 2005 called It Is a New World After All. And I've published a few more since then. And I'm also a teacher. So, one reason I haven't really stepped out so much is because I have a job and I do tutoring and brain training, and I work with children a lot. And so then when I'm home, I'm often meditating, writing. I spend a lot of time in quiet solitude. I'm doing the inner work. I know this great transition and this great awakening to higher consciousness is taking place. And I'm deeply, deeply involved in the process in the inner world. And so I've been writing like crazy lately. And I'm also developing some workshops. I've done 4 of them so far. And the one I'm getting ready to release soon is called DreamWriting in the Spirit of Gratitude. Well, I talk about consciousness technologies. I've studied consciousness since I was a late teenager. And that's also when I started meditating as a late teenager. And so uh, I have been recording a lot of things other than the 3 books and the 4 workshops I've already developed. I just have a lot of things that have not gone public. And to tell you the honest truth, I feel a little bit shy about it. And partly because I enjoy being alone in the silence. And I just love peace and quiet. And I love meditating and contemplating and writing and silent things. I do love people too. And I know I'm meant to share a little bit more than I have been because we're in a new phase. So I am going to tell you a story. So the story goes like this. This is a true story. This is actually what's happening right now in the present time in terms of a shift in consciousness. So I am developing a workshop called Dream Writing in the Spirit of Gratitude. And so, of course, it involves writing, teaching consciousness, and so writing and dreaming with imagination and intention. And so I did the first activity in the dream writing workshop. And I went into a park and I sat in a little isolated picnic area where there's a lot of trees and everything. And I just, did a lot of letting go. And I wrote down um, what the feeling was of being free. And it it was very deep and very intense. And it turned out to have such a permanent and powerful change that really rapid changes happened in my life. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about this story. So there was a permanent shift in consciousness ever since I did that dream writing activity. And I felt like I was had really, really released. And I let go. I had done some boundary setting and cutting cords, and so when it all came to pass, I felt like I had established spirit flow, just a spirit flow that makes everything seem easier. Like I was buoyant, like a bobber on top of a lake, and just a buoy, something that's being held up from beneath. And so I'm going to read a little bit of what I wrote in my journal. And so here goes. The first thing that came to me this day that I was journaling was smooth sailing. And I actually drew a picture of a sailboat on some water in my journal. And here's my entry. Spirit flow makes everything seem easier. Feeling supported and like everything is in sync. Buying my van and selling my car was in that flow. Everything fell into place rather quickly. I felt strongly supported by unseen powers in the spirit flow. Even challenges were mastered with miracles. I sold my car yesterday for $4,400. The man paid full price on the very day that I had expressed I'd like to sell it. And I am in very much gratitude to my team, my guides and angels and Father God, Source. And I know that I'm truly blessed and supported. The spirit flow is due to an attainment of a permanent higher level of consciousness. I've been more and more living in peace and protecting my field of energy. And I'm perceiving that this is a permanent shift, which is leading to smooth sailing on my path ahead. And so the permanent shift of spirit buoyancy took place immediately after I went out in nature and did some dream writing. I was writing according to the first writing activity called Full Freedom. I wrote down my experience of feeling like a free spirit in nature while expressing my love of the beauty and essence of being with the trees and the breeze and so forth. I wrote down my sense of releasing all worries and programs. I took that space to be by myself in nature and to dream of new possibilities. Primarily, I focused on the feeling of freedom. I did a lot of letting go. I consciously reset my consciousness. One piece I wrote down was this: the light in me is free. Wow, I didn't just open the door, I tore down the walls. And that's exactly what I was feeling. Like, just this was a major shift. I claimed my freedom to just be. And of course, I had a gratitude sandwich. So I expressed and felt gratitude in the beginning and at the end of the writing session. And the lasting positive effects were amazing and still are amazing. But after I did that, the next few weeks were like a whirlwind. I had previously set an intention to manifest a van. I went to get my car brakes and my AC checked, and the proposed cost seemed astronomical, so I chose not to have it done. I was determined to have a van, and I did not choose to drop a lot of money into a car that I no longer wanted. As time unfolded, there were many details of the journey. It was like a roller coaster of ups and downs, but the change was quite rapid, and every detail was worked out. I found a perfect van for me, prayers were answered, and every obstacle was met with a solution. My car is gone now, and I am now with a van that I just love. I am so truly grateful. And here's an interesting note. When I saw this van online, I sat in it in my imagination. I held onto the steering wheel and felt it. And I sent my energy into the van. I just felt like I was radiating my essence, and I bonded with the van in essence. And it was a Sedona van, a Kia Sedona. And so I went further and I looked up how many hours it would take to drive to Sedona. And anyway, so the man I bought it from felt compelled to help me. I had a friend with me when I went to acquire the tax tag and title transfer, and he witnessed as the car salesman said, "It's like you had this power or something." And I had told him, the salesman, the day I first looked at the van, that I prayed about it. He answered my text about what is your rock bottom price, the kind of which he would normally ignore. And then when he met me, he said, "I'm going to help you get this van." And believe me, it was unlikely circumstances. This was all about more imagination and intent than really the ability to do it on the material level. But he did help me, and I am very, very grateful. And so it was like the energy just kept going and going and going once I received that spirit flow. And like I said, there were ups and downs, there were snags, there were definite problems along the way. And then everything was met with a solution, and there was too many details to tell. But the main point of this is while we are all ascending, we are learning and practicing consciousness technologies that shift our consciousness permanently and help us to manifest more rapidly. So that is my short story. And like I said, I felt compelled to start making videos on Tuesday. I'm going to try to stick with that plan. But in all authenticity, I'm just going to say I do work. And so, this other kind of sharing messages thing has been spontaneous and inspired and more intermittent. But I feel like I'm being sort of, pushed by my guides to be more um, regular. And I am going to attempt to do that. And eventually I will, gather a community who does want to experience these same consciousness technologies and try them out and get reliable results. Because I'm like a spiritual scientist. I need reliable results. And I have, many success stories already. And I intend to really gather people to work together in consciousness. So cooperating consciousness with shared intention using, unified group consciousness. So that has been a plan for a long time. And so when I get to the sixth workshop, it's going to be about unified group consciousness and MIV manifesting. So it's meditation, intention, and visioning. But I'm also going to use the idea of a morphogenic field and the symbol of a ladybug, which I'll explain more later. It'll be a whole nother video. It's going to be about ladybug magic, and that's a book that I wrote a long time ago. So I'll keep you in suspense about that one, but just stay tuned. I know you're shifting. I'm shifting. We are, uh, experiencing waves of shifts. And so somewhere on the first wave, second wave, third wave, it doesn't matter because we're all helping each other and we're all in the same ocean. I just want to wish you all blessings of love. I love you, and I am going to continue. And please come back, subscribe to my channel, and look up my website, www.smile4love.com. Send me an email, Michelle@smile4love.com. Thanks. Bye.